The verse of the day is 1 Corinthians 15, 10 through 11. And it says, "But whatever I am now, it is all because God poured out his special favor on me, and not without results. For I have worked harder than any of the other apostles, yet it was not I, but God who was working through me by his grace. So it makes no difference whether I preach or they preach, for we all preach the same message you have already believed." The funny thing about us as humans is we're always trying to be something. From the day we're born, we're trying to figure out who we are. We're trying to figure out who we were always supposed to be. What's my purpose? What do you want to be when you grow up? What are you doing for work? Who are you? We're always searching for identity. And this is why I think I get so fired up when it comes to Jesus, because he gives you that identity you're always searching for. And today's verse makes it very clear that anything we become is because of God's favor, is because of who God is in us. And the reason why Jesus changes your whole life and makes you whole again is because God created us. He knows why we're on this planet. He knows how we were created and why we were created. When we are in alignment with God, our creator who created us, and we're getting identity from the one who made us, we no longer search for it in the world. This is why you're able to have peace when your world does not make sense, because you're no longer searching for identity in the world, in people, places, and things, because you're getting it from the inside. You're getting it from the one who created you. And so today's verse reminds me that anything that I am is from God, because he's the reason why I was even born. And when we stay in that perspective, it helps us stay in humility, right? Because we remember anything good has come from God. Any good part of me has come from God. Any growth in me has come from God. So that keeps me humble and dependent on him and gives him all the glory. And it also stops me from searching to be anything other than who he created me to be. So I'm no longer trying to prove anything to the world or gain anything from the world to solidify my identity. If you run after God and you ask him for identity, and you ask him to show you who you were created to be, he does that. It's not just like in a moment you have this whole book of who you are and why you're here and what to do, but it's a journey, it's a relationship. Think about any relationship in your life. Think about when you started dating your girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, wife, best friend. How do any of those relationships evolve? You go on a first date, you get a coffee with a friend, you do a little small talk. You might have a little small talk with God. It might feel awkward because you're not used to it, but it takes small talk sometimes to get to the depth. It takes small talk to go deeper. It takes trying with the small talk to realize that it's a safe place. And you can't go from small talk to best friend without trying, without giving space for it. And it's the same with God. It might feel weird, but the more you give space, the more he's able to show up and show you who he can make you become and show you who you were always created to be. It says, "But whatever I am now, it is all because God poured out his special favor on me." When you run after God and you run after a relationship, he pours out his favor on you because you now have access to his spirit that has power over every evil thing. And that statement might not feel real to some because you might argue, well, I'm still suffering, I'm still struggling, I'm still having all of these things and all of these prayers not come true. Where is my favor? And I think it's less about wondering where your favor is and learning how to understand that you have all the favor you need in relationship with God. So surrendering the things you think you need, surrendering the success you think you need, surrendering the amount of money you think you need, surrendering the status you think you need, and getting to a place where God is the only thing you need, because you start to understand that he fills your heart regardless of what your world looks like. There's been many moments in my life where I've doubted God and I've said, Lord, I don't know if I believe in you like I thought. I'm suffering. Why do I not have joy? Why do I not seem like the happy Christian who's on fire for you? Why am I feeling depression and anxiety? Am I doing this thing wrong? Are you even real? And it took going to those low moments to really, really depend on him wholeheartedly, to get rid of expectations of who I think I should be, and to allow God to love me where I'm at in the midst of my junk, that everything changed because his unconditional love filled my heart even when I wasn't my best. And it was from that place that I realized, oh, I don't need anything else. I don't need to be a certain version of me in order to be great or worthy. I'm worthy as I am right now. And then once you realize that, you're able to walk with God through all the parts of you that you're unhappy with, while also knowing you're completely loved as you are. It's this tango of unconditional love. You're 100% loved as you are, but you never stop growing, which is why today's verse says, not without results. God pours out his special favor on us, not without results, because you go from glory to glory. The more you walk with God, every year you're going to transform. Every year you're going to get better. Every year you're going to get more knowledge and understanding about who God is and who you are, and owning yourself and standing taller and speaking stronger and building better relationships and loving people better. It's just this journey of progression and getting better every single day. I love the sentence that says, yet it was not I, but God who was working through me by his grace. It's not us. It's not me that's doing any of this. It's the God in me. It's not any of us that makes us great. It's God's grace that makes us great, because without God's grace, we wouldn't be able to overcome sin and grow and progress and experience unconditional love and have a relationship with God. It's through God and his love that everything comes from. Anything good comes from. And when we stay there, we don't have to measure up to anything. There's no performance. There's no fear of losing anything, because you understand that anything you gained was never from you in the first place. It was from God. So staying in that position disarms any fear of failure and disarms any need to perform or to be something or to measure up or to gain worth, because your worth is already solidified. It was solidified the day that you were born. I think it's important to note that with the sentence that says, yet it was I, but not God, who is working through me by his grace, you could read that and be like, okay, it's God working through me, so it must not feel hard to do the work. And I don't think that's true, because you're going to feel those tension moments. You're going to feel fear of failure sometimes. You're going to feel being overwhelmed and moments of tension. But all of those feelings are just reminders to go to God, to ask him for strength in the midst of that, because God's power is made perfect in our weakness. So those weaknesses are used to rely on God so that God can make you strong in it. And really, that's a blessing, because that means that you're going to need God to do anything great. That means you're going to be by his side, and it's going to be you and him walking together through anything that you do. So I think today's reminder is helpful to reflect on a few things. What is the favor God has done in your life? Where has God taken you from? Where do you want to go? What do you want God to continue to do in your life? And remembering any weakness is a blessing, because it leads to dependence. So celebrate it and don't victimize it. Don't make it a bad thing about you. Lean on God in the midst of your weakness to walk with him through it. Okay?